We give it bipartisan approach. Is this team really serious? They have been sitting down for a long time, addressing issues affecting Kenyans. And the main reason of bipartisan, I think, is to bring peace, pending demonstrations that we've been having before. But what were the reasons for demonstration? Demonstrations had a lot of issues to be addressed. And this committee, I think, was selected to deliberate on these issues so that they can come up with a permanent solution to this problem. The issues that were at the core, at the front, during demonstration was number one. The opposition talked about high cost of living, which was supported by all if I can say majority of Kenyans, because actually there is increased cost of living and the prices of basic commodities is inflating at a very high rate. Number two, the opposition demanded fairness in appointments of the public officers. That is parastatal, from parastatal to other government departments. They needed fairness because we're in a country of 42 tribes. The appointments cannot only be given to 2 tribes. That's a very genuine issue that the opposition brought on the table to be addressed. Number 3, reinstatement of Cherera 4. Cherera 4 were these commissioners who went south with Chebukati, who rejected the presidential results. Okay, after this bipartisan committee sitting for a long time, these are the deliberations that these people are giving us. Number 1, the financing and creation of office of the opposition leader. Where was this during Mandamano? Number 2, 2/3 gender rule. This thing has been in the constitution. I never had it mentioned anywhere during Mandamano. Number 3, office of the prime CS. So, what was the purpose of the bipartisan talk? If the reasons why these people sat on the table are quite different from what they are giving us as the result, and then we said that the system was designed to be so, there's nothing we can do about it. But it's a funny joke. Many people died on the street. Everyone was talking about the high cost of living. I've never heard them mentioning anything to do with that. How are they going to solve it? Because the main reason why people were on the street was high cost of living. Without that, nobody could have come out to strike or to demonstrate on the street. Nobody could have died on the street, because the rest of the issues that were being raised by the opposition, they were more of self-centered. The only issue that Kenyans were genuinely after was high cost of living. But what are the deliberations here? It is not being talked about. And these people, they have been there on the table for long enough. So what's happening? What's the necessity of the so-called bipartisan talk? What's the necessity of these people sitting down every day, telling us that they are discussing something so that we can have a lasting solution? Kenyans don't have problem with the so-called IBC server, the so-called Cherera 4. By the end of the day, we have a president. We cannot run away from that, and he's working. Whether he got into office through stealing or he was rightfully elected, we cannot run away from that. He's already the president, and he's working. Cherera 4. They already sent home. There's nothing we... But high cost of living has to be addressed. Why are these people sitting on the table and not touching about this? I think the first thing that they ought to have done even before coming up with these deliberations was telling us, hey man, dear Kenyans, we have discussed this and this and this, and this is how we agreed on how high cost of living is going to be reduced. How high cost of living is going to be addressed. Why is it that these people can easily agree on non-important issues than the important one? How did they come into this? The system was designed to be so. Man, Steve is a very wise man. Kimani Ichung'wah is a very wise man. If you look at the committee, though they left out all the youth, there's no youth in that committee. And it is 90%, not even 90%, almost 100% of those who died on the street were youth. Okay, we don't have to talk about that. They left youth. No youth was included in the committee. There's no problem with that. But the people who are there in the committee are very wise. If at all this thing has been reduced into self-interest, where's the interest of people who have died on the street protesting about high cost of living? What we see today is totally different from what we saw in the past few months. But okay, there's nothing we can do about it. But I think the so-called bipartisan team is supposed to be disbanded and everyone go home. There's no issue they're addressing there. There's no need of going to the street because it won't help us. There's no need of sitting there eating taxpayers' money in the name of discussing issues affecting them while you are coming up with positions. These positions were very easy to be... It was a very easy way to come up with this position. It was just phone call away, bro, nataka hiyo kiti hapo nipe na hiyo maneno ishi ama vipi. Haja gani watu wakae watu 10 for 2 months just to come up to decide whether to create to finance the office of the opposition leader or the prime cabinet minister. Bana. At 2/3 gender rule. Where did this idea come from? Who came up with the idea of let us now get to the public and tell them about we have agreed to address the issue of 2/3 gender rule? How is the issue of 2/3 gender rule related to high cost of living? Kenya inchi yangu, Kenya yapendeza. 2/3 gender rule. This is now a funny joke. Man, Steve, you are a wise man. Ni now mtoe. It makes sense hapa. This one is out of context. It's not making sense in the context of discussion. If you are discussing about high cost of living, reinstating Cherera 4, auditing of servers, fairness in public appointment, how did 2/3 gender rule got itself into the committee? Ama maybe hii kichwa imesonga lakini it's not making sense. Okay, after creating these positions, how are they now going to solve the high cost of living? Because I know once we start financing the office of the opposition leader, that small amount that was supposed to be divided into the country will be subtracted kidogo so that this office can be financed. The same to the office of the prime cabinet. So your resolution is going to bring more harm to the society than what we've been going through. So if we are suffering today, we are going to suffer more. Because all these offices that you've created, they are next to president. They need finance. They are supposed to be financed. And we will find out that in a financial year, these offices will be receiving amount equivalent to maybe Turkana County. So instead of discussing on how we are going to improve our agriculture, that's what I thought we were going to do. How our youth are going to be employed, and how the mama mboga, the bottom-up economy. You were supposed to be speaking about the bottom-up. How mama mboga, who is at the bottom, how the taxes are going to be reduced, how mama mboga is going to be elevated from down to up. If it's all about bottom-up economy, how the taxes are going to be reduced. There was this finance bill. Have you talked about it? Students are not in a position to raise school fee. Some of them are not in a position to raise school fee. There's this university funding model. Have you talked about it? Then how are you going to ease in? I think what you are doing is a mockery to the protest that Kenyans were going to. And we will come back and call protest again if these are the things that you are doing on the table. Now when you've been given time to do so, or you've been given the chance to discuss, to come up with solution. How are you solving an existing problem? The problem is high cost of living. How is creation of the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary related to high cost of living? How is financing the office of the opposition leader related to high cost of living? Two-third gender rule. Ai! Kalonzo. Kimani Chungwa. Watu ni wajenga lakini si wajenga sana vile mnadhani. Anyway, everyone should be working on his own life, because the people we've entrusted with our life are not in a position to help us. They care about themselves than they care about us. But we trust them than we trust ourselves. So what do we need to do? We need to wake up. If you trust someone more than you trust yourself, you need to now get the trust back so that you can trust yourself with your life than you trust it with other person. And then all these problems will be solved. But kama bado tumeweka watu wakae chini eti to discuss high cost of living, sijui audit serve, and then they come back with we are going to address two-third gender. How? Eti Prime Cabinet Secretary. That's another burden. Financing the opposition, another burden. This office will require vehicles. This office will require salary. This office will require staffs. This office will require government building. This office will be paying. Who will be paying the electricity bill for this office? Who will be paying water bill for that office? It is the same person you are fighting for. It's the same person who is going to the street so that you can help him address his issues. It's the same person who will be burdened with all these things. Gachagua is wise. This thing is not going to help us, but Gachagua is wise. I think if there's no need, bana. Let us get back together, reason together on how we can make Kenya great again. Creating this position, there's no way these positions are going to make Kenya greater, but it's just going to siphon more money from the common mwananchi. Everyone was like nge during finance bill. Now kila mtu ako quiet. But what's the effect of the finance bill to the common mwananchi? What's the effect of paying more tax to the common mwananchi? What's the effect of increased university fees to that common student? We are joking too much as a country, bana. Everyone should pick up, should get back to the drawing board, get to the table, and then let us start handling these issues individually, and then we'll meet at the top.